Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Priyam. I'm the Director of Finance and Go-to-Market here at Zenskar. Really excited about this one. We have over 500 registrations for this live webinar, which tells me that this topic has definitely hitting a nerve. All of us have been hearing about Claude all this Q1. So let's make the most of this hour. This is what I love about Zenskar's live webinar series. We get to have people join from different parts of the world. So would love for some of you to, maybe post in the chat where are you joining from. I am here in the Bay Area. Nicholas is joining us from Germany. So would love to see where people are joining us from. It's always fun to know. I have Logan joining from Orlando, Florida. Thanks for finding time for this. It's afternoon there. Oh, we have people from Hyderabad, India, Nigeria, Detroit, DC. Wow, we have a house full from everywhere. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for finding time for this. Um, we already have more than 100 participants joining us live. That's awesome. Cool, quick, announcements here. I think we'll have Q&A at the end of the webinar, so please make sure you stay till the end and keep posting your questions in the chat in the Q&A. We'll make sure to answer as much as we can towards the end. We want to make this as interactive as possible for everyone joining us live. And most important thing, I'm sure I'll get a lot of questions on this. We are recording this and we will share it with every registrant and attendee right after the webinar within 24 hours. So don't worry about it. We'll make sure that all the learnings here, if you miss something, join late or have to drop off early, you'll get the recording for sure. Awesome. I see the chat overflowing. We have people from Zambia, Sweden, Lebanon. Awesome. This is great. Cool. So before we get into the masterclass and I hand it over to Nicholas, let me briefly introduce Zenskar. Zenskar is an AI native order to cash platform built ground up to automate billing, revenue accounting, and reporting for modern finance team for real world complex use cases. We work with teams who are scaling B2B SaaS or any other industry growing very, very fast, but don't want to scale headcount to keep up with revenue automations. Our vision is to build a platform where you just send your contracts and usage data and everything downstream, right from generating invoices, collecting cash, doing the revenue side accounting, and reporting to various stakeholders is fully automated with our platform. We have a series of integrated AI agents, which I am also excited to show you in the later half of this webinar, which works as an extension of your team. It runs queries, performs actions, curates reports, and a lot more that we're excited to show you, simplifying your day-to-day task and making sure that AI is a friend and a 24/7, employee that you can get work done through while you focus on the strategic decisions. And for those of you who love Claude, and I'm sure most of you do that we have you on the call today, Zenskar also connects natively via MCP through Claude, so you can run all of the order to cash right from your Claude window as well. Awesome. I see the chat. We have someone from Nigeria and Rwanda as well. Awesome. People keep sharing where you're joining from, people who are joining us now. Before I call in Nicholas and have him quickly introduce himself, just wanted to get a sense where people are today in their AI journeys. So I would want to launch the first poll here. Request a host to launch it for everyone to answer. I'm curious to know where people are using Claude today. So, Claude Cowork specifically, have you never heard of it? And is this the first webinar you're joining to learn? You're using it already. You are, but you want to do more, or you're already getting value from it and you're a pro user here. So, while people do that, I'll wait for maybe 10 seconds and then we can see some results. Awesome. I see we already have a question here. Yes, Eli, the short answer is yes. Thank you so much for asking that. We can definitely help with the property management platform, but don't want to plug Zenskar just yet, so I'll pause on that front. I would love to have a chat with you and see where we can help, but I think we have some time here. Should we see the poll results now? Awesome. I see most of us today, around 60% have either never heard of Claude or are using it but not using Claude Cowork specifically. Remaining 30% is tried Claude Cowork but want to do more. So I see we have the perfect audience today. where people are already using it and wanting to get more done or trying to learn about Claude Cowork. Awesome. Which brings me to Nicholas and introducing him without much further ado. Nicholas has spent over 15 years in corporate finance at PwC, Thales, and before making it his mission to help finance teams thrive in the era of AI, he has trained finance teams at KPMG, Mercedes-Benz, Siemens, Carlsberg, and many more. And today he's going to walk you through 5 Claude workflows covering invoice organization, reconciliation, revenue forecasting, financial statement forecasting, and revenue recognition. And by the end of this session, you'll have a clear picture of what you can use Claude to take off from your plate today. I'll pause here, Nicholas. The stage is yours. Please feel free to take over.
Thank you, Prayam. And so, yeah, let us know in the chat who is already using Claude, like just that I see the name as well, and I see that everybody's active because this is not your standard webinar where you just need to listen from one ear. I will show you everything on screen, so you need to be with us, super focus. And I also want you focus in the chat. So tell us in the chat. Yes, Rodrigo. Rodrigo. I know Rodrigo. Awesome. I have a lot of things to show you, Rodrigo. You will love that. Rodrigo is one of the best CFO. He's a CFO as Joby. So really good to have you here. Good. So let's start because I've prepared a lot of use case. I spent like actually the last 7 days really on Claude, like just covering as much as possible. And I'm really excited to show you this. So the first use case is something where it's quite fun now to see that AI can also live inside your desktop. Imagine this situation where you see on the right side where you have a lot of invoices, and I know a lot of people, especially in finance, they love when everything is structured. And so they have to arrange all of the invoices by folder, by month, by currency. And it takes a lot of time to do that. Well, here I have on the left Cowork. So Cowork is basically Claude, but on your computer. So Claude having access to your folders. And I will show you why this is powerful. So you can see on the right side, I want to arrange all of these invoices. I have hundreds of invoices, and I have to go inside each invoice to understand which date is it and which currency. And so that means that if I want to organize all of these invoices by date and by currency, I will have to open each one of them and spend hours to do that. So instead, I'm going to give access to this folder. And here, so you can see that I have basically created a Claude workspace folder. And here it tells me, watch out, everything you give access, you need to have a backup, basically. So that's just like a first tip. Make sure you have a backup of what you give access to Claude. Then I explain just in plain English. No need to like really complicated prompt. Just explain what you want. So a folder with one folder per month and one folder per currency. I can use Sonnet here because this is not really needed to have Opus, the most complicated model. Sonnet is good enough for this type of task. Then we launch the action, and let's look on here, the sidebar. It will show us what is the plan of Claude Cowork. So we see that Claude Cowork will do like a plan in 4 steps. First, understanding how these invoices, how they look like, and then writing the script to rearrange everything. And you can see on the right side what is going to happen live, that our invoices will be not anymore in just one folder, but we want them to be arranged. So now it starts to move a bit, and here we go. Everything is arranged in 3 folders. And so we have one folder for January, one for February, one for March. And inside each of them, we have also one folder per currency. So this is on the left side, the summary of what happened. And if I want to check, I can on the right side open, and I can check that here on this invoice, the PDF is the right one. So right currency, right month. And then I can make other checks, and all of them were classified correctly. So imagine this is just like to show you the big difference between those AI tools that just have access to you talking to it by text. And now here you give access to your computer. Like that's a big change. That's why you can do much more. The thing is, that's fun. Like, okay, arranging invoices is a nice tip, but I know a lot of people who tell me, I don't really need this. It doesn't change my work. It doesn't really change my workflows. So now that we have the invoices arranged, let's actually do with this a reconciliation, because that's actually much more important than just rearranging invoices. And for this, we have this bank statement, and we want to see if against this bank statement, we can reconcile all of the invoices that we have created. So in the same discussion, now I say reconcile these invoices to the bank statement. And so I'm uploading the Excel file. And here you can see that it's calling, and that's actually the most important part here. I'll go back. It's calling the skill called reconciliation. And Claude has this thing which the other AI, they don't have it yet. They have skills. Skills are basically extra instructions that come on top of the model. And these extra instructions, they will be specific. It's like having a mega prompt explaining the model what to do. And so here, the reconciliation skill basically tells Claude, for reconciliation, these are all the steps that you have to do. And this is what makes Claude a bit stronger than others, because they have made these extra skills available to you. And this skill, I have it because I installed the finance plugin on Claude, which is totally free. And you can install it with 2 clicks of a button. So then thanks to this skill, it knows what to do. So reading the bank statement, extract the data from all invoices, matching invoice. And so now it's working on this. And we'll wait like a few minutes, which I accelerated a bit. And we have finally the work done. So we have 51 click match, 49 that we need to have a look. And most importantly, it created an Excel file. Before I show you the Excel file, tell me in the chat who here already saw a really good reconciliation file that a human can understand. Like yes or no, did you ever saw that? Never, right? Dimitri was the first. So like, I never saw that. Oh, Jeff was okay. Jeff, maybe you are lucky. So, but I never saw like something that you can really understand. Everybody has his own way. Everybody does it. It's really hard to understand. Well, let's look at what Claude could do in 5 minutes. And Carlos, I'm going to show you that after. So this is the reconciliation done by Claude, where all of the invoices are ranked in different buckets. And also we have the amount for USD and for Euro. And then I have another tab where for all of the invoices, we have here, they are classified, they have color coded, and we know what we have to do. And you can see that is super clear. And you can review this, you can act on it. This is for me, like, I'm normally like, I'm really skeptical always with AI, with what it gives out, but I never saw a human make a documentation that clear. So now, of course, you have to review, you have to understand the logic, you have also, because we didn't give any rules. I didn't say, oh, when there is a rounding around 5 cents, just say, okay. No, like now it just use the standard rules. But this is here in a few minutes how you can leverage Claude Cowork to do a reconciliation. So tell me in the chat what you think about it. And for Carlos, I'm going to show you the plugins. So Vincent say amazing. Eric as well. Very slick. Yeah, Karen. So let me show you where you can get this the skills. So I'm going to share my screen again. This time here. Yes. So here, as you can see, I am in Claude. So it's Claude on my computer. So that means I installed it on my laptop. You can have it also on Windows. And here you have three access. You have the chat, so that's exactly like on the web. But because you're on the computer, you have Cowork. And Cowork can give access to my different folder. And here I have this customize button. Really important. Customize button. This is where I can browse plugins. And when I browse plugins, I have the finance one here. And if you don't have it installed yet, you have a button called install. So for example, marketing is not installed for me, so I have to click install. And in the finance one, you can see those are suggestions of what you can ask your Claude to do. And here you can see that we have the reconciliation skill in the bottom. So when I click on it, here, this is how a skill looks like. A skill is just a text explaining to the AI what to do. And so here, this skill assists with reconciliation workflows. These are the type of reconciliations. This is the process, the common causes. And then for each specific workflow, so that was our reconciliations, the bank, it tells a specific process and even gives a standard format. And so this skill, the beauty of it is if you want, you can start from this skill and even adapt it to yourself. That's something where it's quite cool. Basically, once you have changed a bit and you have another workflow, you can ask, okay, add this and create a new skill specific to our own reconciliation. And you have also one for variance analysis. You have one for journal entry. So this is what is cool because the other tools don't have that yet. I'm sure, or you have to create that yourself. Like you have to create custom GPTs, you have to create Copilot agents, you have to create gems. But this is what is quite cool here with Cowork. So who built the skill? This is Claude's team. So Anthropic built that. But you can also build your own. Like for example, I have like one skill here to make PowerPoint, which is something which follows my own structure. I have also like some branding skills about which color to use. So those are the skills that I created myself. Good. So now that we have seen some Cowork skills, yeah. So now let's go to the next use case. Let's look now at
Nicolas,
something in
I had
Excel.
one quick thing.
Yeah.
Before you go to the next use case, I think we should have a poll to see
Yes. True.
where people are on their close time. So I will request the host again to maybe launch the poll. But I can definitely, so far, what you have shown, people are really excited to see it. And I think it's already looking like something AI could help them with. So that's amazing. Awesome. I'll quickly read out the question here. What's the biggest time sink in your monthly close right now? Is it invoice organization and reconciliation, which is what we have already shown? So it will be good to see if people already see value in it. Is it revenue recognition across complex contracts? Is it building the forecast or financial statements? Or all of the above? It's chaos every month. I'll give it a few seconds. But I want to ask Nicholas, what do you think would be taking the most time in closing monthly?
I think
What's your guess?
it depends on the job of each of our participants. I think if somebody in accounting, purely the first one,
Hmm.
maybe an accounting expert who is not really busy with reconciliation and invoice, maybe the second one. A FP&A role, forecast for sure. And somebody who is like just maybe like a multi hat or one man job, maybe the last one.
Yeah, I may have sample bias, but because being in Zenskar, we speak to people mostly who have challenges with billing and revenue recognition. So it would be interesting to see what the sample today in our audience is. Um, I think we should see the results now. Host, can you help us with that? Ah, I see. Interesting. We have an equal split around 15% on both invoice organization. So I think 15% of the session of the audience today has already benefited from just 20 minutes of the webinar, and 15% for revenue recognition across complex contracts and building forecast and financial statements. So a good 40% here feels the FP&A side, the forecasting side, closing on that front takes the most time. And we still have one man army, one woman army folks here who are dealing with this chaos all alone across all three funds. So, very interesting mix of audience today. Awesome. Cool. Nicholas, sorry for the interruption, but I'll let you
No, no, it's
continue
good.
with
It's
the
good. It's
third
good.
use case.
There was a good question from Julien asking, can you ask Claude to rename the purchase invoices so that they appear in a standard format in the folder? So following the date plus supplier name? Yes, you can do that because basically with Claude Cowork, it will write a mini app or mini script that goes and read the PDF, identify the date, identify the supplier name, and then will replace the name of the invoice. But that's why as well, you need to have backup because it can delete, it can change the name, and then you might never see your invoice again. So that's why, or your purchase order. That's why, like, always have a backup. So I think so. We saw that forecasting was also one of the big topic. So let's show you how you can also use Claude to build your SaaS revenue forecast or your SaaS pricing model. So imagine this and tell me if some of you relate to that when, again, you get your CEO entering your room and asking about a new forecast and you don't have time to redo it. And it's a Friday evening. So can you use Claude to do it in Excel? Because when you have to do this model in Excel, it takes quite a long time. Unless you already built a really super beautiful model where you just need to change with one click of a button. But we all know that this is only a dream and then it always changes every month. So then if you don't have any model and you want to build one or build a new one, this is what you can do with Claude. And this time, I'm not showing Claude Cowork, I'm showing Claude for Excel. So Claude for Excel is available if you pay for Claude subscription, so Pro, Max, Team, or Enterprise. And I'm not paid by Claude, so it's just that I'm there to show information. And this actually, what I'm showing to you, if you don't have a Claude license, but you have a ChatGPT license, and or you have a Copilot license, for example, with Excel Copilot, you can also do that. It's called Edit with Copilot. I ran in my AI Friends Club yesterday a session on this. The Edit with Copilot, so what they called before Excel AI Agent Mode, and ChatGPT in Excel and Claude in Excel, the three are as strong as each other. Claude looks slightly nicer when they do like their schedules, but the format, the formulas, and the output is really similar. What matters most is how you ask it. And so let me show you what you can build here with Claude in Excel. So you can see that, and by the way, to get it, you just need to click add-ins here and to have Claude. If you're working for a company, maybe you need to ask your administrator to allow you to install it. But that's the only two things to do. And you need to pay for it, of course. Let me just zoom in because playback, yeah. So let me share again. Up. Okay, so on the right side, I have Claude, and I'm asking to do a forecasting for two products. A standard one, which is $900 per month plus 100 per seat, and a premium plan, which is 3,000 plus 150 per seat. And then I explain the type of model I want. So here's a revenue forecast where I want to change the price, the growth, and the churn. And I also want a graph and a summary. So here you see what is happening. And on the right side, you can always read what Claude wants to do. So what is the plan? So here it's already started with the assumptions. Then it starts to build the 12 months revenue forecast. And now it already has almost all of the formulas, and now all formulas are updated. And I even have my graph that I wanted to have with the MRR. And we can see the graph yet is not really representative of what is happening. Now, okay, now I have the growth taken in account. So this is done. Let's see now if we change some parameters, if the model works. So for example, if I change the starting customers. So if we start with 1,000 instead of 20, here we can see this change. Same for the premium product. Here we can see that it has also changed. And I always ask a graph to make sure that everything is linked. That's the fastest way to see if your model works. Then I also check the churn. So you can do small tests like this. And something I wanted to show is this option I've activated. You can go in settings to activate the Claude log. So like this, you see what type of changes you are doing with Claude. It will record that each time you ask for a change. So we have our model. And as you can see, there are formulas everywhere. Each time I click, you can see on the top, there are formulas everywhere. But I want to ask everybody, do you see yourself, because that's the question I get, do you see yourself having to review all of the formulas manually? And if yes, is it really a gain of time if you have to recheck everything, if you are not sure if AI did its work? Tell me in the chat. So Kim will do it. Karen say foot the formulas, yes. Spot check. Vincent will go for spot check. Peter will do global checks. Erika, yes. Jeff will use Claude to critique an existing model I created. Okay. Yeah, Cherries Dickman. Yeah. So, or Jeff says it has found logic flows. So, really important. We have all of us to be aware this is still AI, it's generative AI, it can make mistake. It's still you who is responsible of the output. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean that here you should not use it because it makes mistake. Because it's like having somebody in your team. Your team also do mistake. It doesn't mean that you do not rely on them. Instead, you put processes in place to control their work. You ask them to document their work properly to do checks. And so here, instead of reviewing manually, we are actually doing the same thing that we will do with an employee. But the difference here is that an employee, maybe it's late, they don't have time, they don't want it, it's not the funniest job to do the audit. Well, now let's see if we ask Claude to audit its own work. And so I'm going to now, and you can see there are formulas. So I'm going to ask Claude, audit this model and document the audit and all verification in another tab. And I explained that the goal is that to check that there is no error. So this is the first part of the audit. And I accelerated a bit, but now it starts to verify all of the cells, also for each product, all of the logic. And now, so it took like 2 minutes in the real life, but I accelerated a bit. This is how the audit looks like. So it checked everything and didn't find any problem. And what is cool as well is really like did all of the checks. It shows you the formulas that should be, all of the consistency check. And so often when you have a problem, it will see the problem before you can see it, thanks to that. And here you can also look at if all of the formulas make sense. For example, you might have a specific way to calculate your churn. And when you read here the KPIs, how they are calculated, you might think, oh yeah, but in our company, the churn is not calculated like this. So here, even though the audit says it's right, when you review and you read the definition of the churn, you might say, no, like for us, this is wrong. And that's a way to increase the confidence that you can have on this model, to also document that this model works, and for you to spot check the mistakes before having to do that manually. And again, like it's not a 100% error-free technique, but instead of spending time manually checking everything, here you will see much more faster the problems. And on top, really, like it's a really good documentation that until now you never had as a human. Maybe it's also too much. So that's where in your prompt, you can ask only do like a simple check, because I don't want to have a digital garbage to analyze, which is a problem now with AI. It's like we have too much to review. So that's in your prompt. You can also ask that. So you see how important it is that one, yes, you can get a model, but two, if there are mistakes, you can let the model audit itself. And if here we had a problem, we can also ask the model to be changed by AI. And that's really important, is you have to pay attention, but you can use AI to increase your level of confidence. Okay, everybody in the chat? And I will answer to one question from Pei. Pei, nice to have you here. Pei is also a member of our community. So how do you get the log setting? So the log setting, let me open my Excel. Yeah. So for this, I'll open Claude here. And there are those three dots here. Then you have settings. And then you have to turn on the session logging. That is the Claude log. And then the other functionalities here, let Claude work across files. It means that any other Excel workbook that are open, when you activated this, Claude will know about it. So that means if you just say, oh, look at the other Excel file, it will know about it. But the other big importance here is that you can work with Claude PowerPoint as well, when here this is activated, and when also in PowerPoint this is activated. That means you can also ask to transfer information from Excel to PowerPoint without having to upload your file. So I hope this answers your question, Pei. Good. So now we have built the forecasting model for the revenue, but you probably also want to build your financial statements now that you have the revenue. So now our 4 use case is how to use and to continue here to build the financial statements. And so based on this model that we have built, I'm going to continue and say, now let's build a full financial model over this period. That also means that you can start based on existing data. Because here what I did is I saved, and either you can continue the discussion or you can save and reopen 1 or 2 days after. And so there you can see that my prompt is a bit more, and for all of you that want to screenshot, you can screenshot. My prompt is a bit more specific. I explain what I want to see. I say to start with synthetic data. So like this, I want to update it later. I also say to use an average salary, add fixed cost, and make the marketing cost as a percentage of revenue. So then I launch Claude on this, and it starts to build. You can see headcounts and cost. So this is the tab on headcounts and cost. Then I have the P&L. And then I have the balance sheet. At the beginning with some errors, but it will fix by itself the errors. And then I have the cash flow. And as you can see, it used also color coded. So everything is green is with formula. And I also get here graphs like I ask. And so if I go back and I want to change, for example, the head counts, because I feel that it's not in line with our company, I just change here manually. And when I change, you can see in the bottom that the figures change. Like we can do it again. Like here, look at the figures here. Maybe I did it too fast. So I have here 8 sales, 20 sales. It changed the sales to 150 now. And also the marketing cost, 30%. It also changed because before we had lower marketing cost. So again, imagine how long you will have needed to create this model. And even like, is your model as clear as this one? Has this model these formulas? Can you change assumptions everywhere? Okay, do you have, is everything linked? This was like, I accelerated a bit so you don't have to watch Claude turning and turning, but this was done in 6 minutes. And if we wanted to audit it, you remember the tactic? We ask Claude to audit itself and then to show you the audit. So tell me in the chat what you think about that before going to our last scenario, last use case. Yeah, it's unbelievable. That's why you need to try it. But always check after the formulas and make Claude audit itself and review the audit. So my last use case is for revenue recognition, because I know a lot of you are in SaaS, and we know that some contracts might be a bit complex, and you are still mandatory, even if in finance we're not that good with this, to document your revenue recognition process. And so here, if you want to start, there is something cool that you can do if you don't have that many contracts, because you have always to think, all of these AI tools, generic tools, they are good when you have a human behind and it's still manageable in terms of volume. If you have to do hundreds of contracts and all of this, I will not recommend to use a tool like this. You need to be more specific with dedicated tool, but let's see already what this generic tool can do. So here I have these 3 contracts and I want to analyze them. And those are SaaS contracts for our business. So where we sell our POS product. So I'm going to add this file. And so you can see like here the prompt is really, I would say really soft. Like I'm not really, really precise on the prompt. I just say do revenue recognition, but really important, I'm calling a skill that I've built called ASC 606 SaaS. And so because I have this skill, it actually will do much. Yes, you can see it starts to do the presentation following the 5-step principles, and for each step, the different sections inside, and all of the checks that you need to document. And because of the skills, it documents it in a specific way that I want. And because of the skill, it will also know that all of the SaaS, I would say, interpretation, it's also there, because the model itself doesn't know all of the SaaS interpretation. It's documented in specific documents. And so it has really, like for each of the contract, it did the summary, the performance obligation, the revenue recognition schedule, all of this really in a few minutes. Here again, for another contract, the performance obligation. So now the question from David is exactly what I wanted. So do you want to know how I did this skill? Because that's the beauty of it. Thanks to this skill, this looks super amazing. But if you don't have the skill, you will never get a consistent output like this. Yes? Okay, Logan. I think I need at least 10 yes to show it. We have 4 yes, 5, 6. Okay, good. So, how to create the skill behind this? And here, I will go back to Cowork. And first, I'm asking to research from the Big Four the guidance on the revenue recognition for SaaS companies. And so Cowork will go online and we'll find those publications. And so after a few minutes, and this is also what is amazing, is that Claude can access to your browser. So you will see that it's browsing for you on your computer. And so it's using those white paper from the different Big Four. And now I'm just saying to create a skill from this research. And I'm a bit more specific. I'm telling what to do. And just going to accelerate a bit. But basically, I'm explaining what I want. And you can see, really important is I wanted to have an output structured Excel workbook with sheets for contract summary. So you see, everything that I have had as output is because I asked for it before. And so now, basically, we'll create the skill that does this work. And like this, have always a consistent output. For the users of ChatGPT, this is a bit like creating a custom GPT, but just Claude is, I would say with skills is better because you can be much more detailed, and Claude is really good at creating its own skill. For the users of Copilot, it's like creating a Copilot agent, or for Gemini is creating a gem. And you can see that what it has a, that was really interesting when we built this. It did a step in between to check if it's good what it built. Like it did an evaluation to check if it's okay, everything that we have built. And so like this, it allowed us to make a mini check. And so once we were happy with this, we say, okay, now you can go and generate the skill. And this is the skill that was created. So again, it's only text, but text describing how to do it in Excel. And as you can see, I will stop 2 seconds because that's really subtle, but here, look at how it says what to do, row, the contract. So this is basically saying how the table should look like. Here is also saying how the transaction price allocation should look like. And so this is how we created the skill behind that. And yes, Nama, it did the eval without that I requested for it. So that's interesting as well. Yeah. I'm checking the questions from Julien. Is the formatting of the reconciliations the standard Claude? Yeah, the blue, it likes to do blue headers. Yeah. It's basically in the Excel skill, but yes, you can change this setup. You can say, oh, I want Excel to use like this, I want to use like this nice font, or I want it to use my branding, so black and yellow, maybe. The processing happen on the Claude server or in your computer. No, that's the thing is, you give your data to Claude because it has to read the data to be able to process. So you need to have a license where your company is okay to share your data with Claude. And then you upload that document back to Claude as a skill to save it. Yeah, so the last step, we'll share again with everybody my screen. The last step is to click here or here to copy to your skill. Good. So let me know in the chat before we go to other questions what you think about this. Because so the goal here was really to show you what it can do. Obviously, this is still manageable with a few contracts. If you have a lot of contracts, this is where you need to look at tools that are specialized for this. This is also something I think Priyam and Aditya want to show you because the beauty of this generic tool, they are like Swiss knife tools. So you can do a lot of things, but you know, like when you have to cut a tree, try it with a Swiss knife tool. It doesn't always work.
For sure. Thank you so much, Nicholas. This was incredibly practical. I am so excited after hearing so much. I want to try my hands at Claude now. I think one takeaway, skills are still valuable. In the human era, skills were still that gave edge to people on, how they could do in the real world. And even in AI world, skills in a different context are still as valuable. So that was very, very good. I think a lot of people on this webinar just felt like, why am I not doing this already? Which is exactly the point of doing these webinars. Now, what Nicholas has showed you is Claude can transform the manual work inside your existing workflow. What I and Aditya have to show you next is about how AI and its magic can do with a fundamentally stronger platform for your order to cash. And to show you that in action, I'm going to bring in who lives and breathes this every single day with our customers at Zenskar, Aditya, who is our head of sales. And we'll take a short detour to look at the Zenskar product and then come back and answer all the exciting questions that I can see in the chats. So over to you, Aditya.
Thanks, Prem. Thanks, Nicholas. Very exciting to be here and happy to chat a little bit about Zenskar and how we're helping teams kind of transform what they're doing at finance. I'll quickly present my screen and don't want to waste too much time here and walk you through what we have in terms of what Zenskar does. You'll see what you see on the screen here is like a visual map of what Zenskar does. You'll notice we can plug into upstream, downstream systems to automate everything in between. And that's the idea of a tool like this, right? We pull and push data from different sources to automate everything in between. So you'll notice we can pull contracts directly from a CRM setup, push data back into your ERP setup, plug in the tax vendors to calculate your taxes, reconcile payments, or if you have any consumption or usage-based or variable revenue as well, we could plug into that and pull that into Zenskar as well. So we not just automatically create our invoices, send these invoices out to customers, automate your dunning notices, collection workflows through the platform, and do your RevRec. This is built on top of 606. Both our founders had built previous billing systems in the past. They've all read 606 10 times now. So this is built ground up on 606. And then we create these entries and then post them into your ERP. And finally, consolidate all this at a reporting and analytics level. Really, the magic comes in how we're able to use these agents to be able to automate this workflow. You'll notice at the front of the process, we have our contracts agent. What essentially does is converts what you have on a PDF into structured pricing logic to automate everything downstream in terms of your invoicing and accounting. For more ancillary stuff where you have to issue credit notes, issue discounts, send payment reminders, all of this can be done with our actions agent. And then finally consolidating all this with a reporting set where you can query these reports in simple English and you're able to get these reports on the fly. Now, the magic, of course, is you do not have to log into a platform like this or a platform like Zenskar to carry out these operations. This could live within Claude, what Nicholas just showed you with our Claude MCP integration, or this could live where you live, if it's on Slack or if it's on Microsoft Teams, where you can chat with this bot to get these actions and these reports on the fly. Longer term, what we're building towards is humans in the finance team should only be giving instructions, setting policies, like Nicholas just showed us today, and the agents on the platform essentially carry out these processes for you, while humans are always in control of what gets approved and what gets rejected. So that's quick high level in terms of what we are building towards. I'll walk you guys through a quick high level of the product itself to give you a more visual sense of how this kind of works. I'll start off with the contracts, which is really the bread and butter of the platform. So think of contracts as commercial agreements you sign with your customers. Now, these contracts, like I said, could be ingested into Zenskar in multiple different ways. The most prominent one used to be the CRM route, where we could plug into your traditional CRMs like a HubSpot, Salesforce, or even more native CRM solutions like Atio. But what we've also introduced is our AI contracts module, where all you have to do is upload a PDF or forward a PDF, and we can convert that PDF into a template on Zenskar. Now, you'll notice this PDF could be in any length, any format, any language. You could have pricing stored in tables, in words. It doesn't matter. And we could pull everything you have on a contract and convert that into Zenskar for your invoicing and accounting. So really what you'll see is the power of the platform. And how this is different from a generic OCR setup is you're also able to train this model to read off of your types of contracts. So you're able to create custom prompts. And let's say you have renewal terms mentioned in clause 4.2 in every contract. You can train this model to read off of your types of contracts rather being stored or stuck with one type of contract it could read. And this is where it gets entirely customizable as well. So you'll notice it would essentially pull everything you have in the contract and create a template on Zenskar. We give it a second to run here and then pull it up. But it creates your SKUs, the discounts. You'll notice here creates your customer, the addresses, emails associated with it. If you have net payment terms, any different kinds of products, or if you have a multi-product discount for 8%. But you'll see the idea is that it essentially automates all the human involvement in terms of sifting through a contract and creating it on any product. All of that is automatically done by AI. And guess what? Finance could come in and edit this before it actually gets published. So you always have control in terms of what gets invoiced. But really what you see once a contract is ingested onto the platform, we automatically create your invoices and send these invoices out to customers as well. And also create your revenue schedules, which I'll get into a second. But you'll notice here, these invoices by default get created, and you could come in here and approve this before it actually gets sent out. And these invoices themselves can get as customizable as needed. So you can choose what you show and hide on the invoice. You can add in your logos, the fonts, the colors, the theme of this invoice itself. You can add in your payment details here. If you have credit card billing, you can add in your credit card links here as well, so customers can pay via the credit cards. But that's really once you see the contract is ingested, we're able to invoice any terms, any products, whether it's prepaid, postpaid, consumption, per unit, per volume. And this is where the flexibility that we've been talking about kind of comes in, where you could basically have sales teams kind of go creative and wild with the types of contracts that they sign. And finance is not a bottleneck on GTM teams anymore, where you're able to invoice any terms that sales teams might sign. So that's really where the flexibility kind of comes in. Most companies that end up evaluating a tool like this want to see if this tool works for us today, but also want to figure if this works for us 5 years from now. And that's where we've seen the complexity kind of increase. As the scale of your business kind of increases, you will merge, you will acquire new companies, introduce new products, new selling motions, new geographies. At that time, you do not want to be doing this on spreadsheets or running one-off workflows. And that's the flexibility that's built in. I'll move into the accounting side. Like I mentioned at the top of the call, this is built to ground up on 606, where you're able to come in here and create performance obligations, much like the skills and the rules that Nicholas was showing us, where you have a more robust skill or rule library, where we have default rules that we configured, but you could also come in here and create your own rules. You can map this to different GL accounts on your ERP. So if you have multiple accounts that this revenue could be back to, that could be done. You could choose how revenue is satisfied, whether it's point in time or over time, and choose how revenue is distributed as well. But really what you see once these rules of performance obligations are created, we, for every contract, distribute your revenue and also create your journal entries. And you'll notice for different products or SKUs, I have different performance obligations. So my annual minimum, which is subscription, is recognized differently versus my professional services revenue is recognized differently as well. But you'll see once the revenue is distributed, we create your journal entries and we manage all your revenue schedules. So your AR, unbilled, unearned, tax entries to a vendor, payment gateway expenses, all your customer-sided journals are managed on Zenskar. And what gets pushed at month end, or what you have to do at month end, is just review these journals before they get actually pushed into your ERP. You'll note these journals also can get as detailed as consolidated. So you can send each customer level journal entry or one consolidated journal entry at month end. You'll notice you can send these entries into your ERP. Most tools or most teams end up using this for audit purposes as well. So you can grant access to auditors and then they can come in and review your journals and your account balances. But really what you'll notice is All Zenskar needs is access to a contract. This could be on a CRM, it could be a PDF, it could be through your website, and everything downstream in terms of your invoices being created, your payments hitting your bank, your accounting and your revenue recognition being done, and your dunning notices being sent out. All of that is managed by the tool itself. I'll quickly give you a synopsis of how we're using AI as well in this kind of entire setup. So you'll notice for every contract, for example, instead of me going this and doing this manually for every contract, I can basically come in here and say, apply a 10% discount to all products. And you'll notice essentially AI could basically doing this, instead of doing this one by one, have that 10% discount applied to all products in the contract. You could have multiple kind of use cases that you could run on this kind of tool itself. And then you could also run any kind of reporting analysis on top as well. So any non-technical folks like me could come in here and view any kind of reports and insights without depending on external resources or data teams to be actually able to give you these invoices or give you these reports. So you'll notice it applies that 10% discount automatically. And finally, consolidating in terms of reporting as well, right? You can come in here and chat with this bot to give you any kinds of insights. Let's say, who are my top 3 customers? Give me a list of all contracts coming up for renewal in the next 90 days. Again, there's multiple kind of use cases. And again, to kind of compile all of this could be done on Claude, like we just walked the team through. This could be done on Slack, on Microsoft Teams. So teams do not even have to log into a tool like this, where if you want to see what is my AR balance as of X date, you could come in here and view all of these details with with just simple English. So that was my long spiel. I'll pause here. We could take any questions. Priyam, I know you're monitoring that, and we can walk and address those questions as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adi. This was quite intense, quite a lot of things covered very quickly. I think now is the time to answer the questions. Nicholas, I see we have 3 minutes on the clock, but if you have maybe a few more minutes to go over, we can make sure that we answer everyone's question. Um, I see you're nodding, so I'll go ahead. So I see one question about Zenskar, actually a couple, so I'll pick that first so that we can continue that flow and then come to the other questions that I can see in the Q&A box. Anuja is asking, is there a integration with any travel and expense platform so that the reimbursable expenses can be added to the invoices? Adi?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are exploring how we can integrate with travel and expense platforms like Ramp, for example, or Zip. We are exploring that with the use of AI, but today we're more on the AR side. So everything on the AR side is automatable. We're exploring how we could add AP side, expense side reporting, and accounting as well. So we'd essentially automate everything on your AP plus AR side, but that is still on the roadmap that we're discussing now.
Awesome. I think Anuja's question was more about if the contract has a component of the cost that is kind of feeding into the invoice data. I think we have a way to plug APIs for sure where we are able to get any input where time and material is there. I know traveling expense is a little different. It's probably more relevant for services company where your billable hours are one component and your cost is another. So I think it might be something we can look at in a more personalized demo fashion. It might be possible. I don't want to say yes, but maybe. Vincent here is asking, usually billing occurs through ERP based on actual verified services that are performed or inputs. How do you create that verification before posting to GL? Billing templates, custom, how about exceptions where it deviates from the contract? Is it SOC 2 compliant? Wow. We are SOC 2 compliant and we have billing templates that are truly customizable both on the invoice side, on the contract side. You can decide how your invoices look and feel, the usage reports that go along, how that looks and feel. And the verification layer, I think the way I answer this is that you need verification when you have two sources that don't talk to each other. So if Zenskar, the best part is that we plug into the source of truth. So if that source of truth is a PDF file, a contract signed with your customer, we plug into that. If it's your Salesforce or CRM where that data lives in after multiple approvals, we plug into that as well. If your customers literally signing up on the website, having their own way to, pick the product bundle, apply discounts, apply coupons, we get data directly from the product itself. So kind of changing the workflow a little bit, which does not require you to verify what's sold and what's being delivered. Um, but again, happy to chat in a more one-on-one fashion to understand where is the need for verification of the existing process and if at all Zenskar can help. Um, Awesome. Cost, again, the pricing that we have for Zenskar is very customized to the use case, the complexity, and the scale. So we make sure, that the pricing fits your expectation and we kind of customize it based on the modules that you want to work with and the scale. So again, happy to have a chat, Vincent. I can reach out to you after the webinar to make sure we answer all these questions in a more personalized fashion. Do you offer gap other than US gap? We have IFRS 15 for our customers who are doing accounting on the Europe UK front. I'll need to check if we have gap other than US gap as well. So cool, awesome. I'll throw a few questions, Nicholas, for you. I think from the Q&A, I have how to ensure that the formulas generated are right. I think this is for the Excel that you created very quickly with Claude. How to be sure that the formulas that Claude is creating is right or not?
Yeah, so first, it's really good to have this question because you should not trust everything if it looks good, but like um, error or even like a hard coded value inside could be hidden. That's where you ask to audit uh, the formulas. That's also where I love for me to have always graphs because with a graph, you will see if there is a problem. Because I mean, if the graph like every day does this, but then there is one day going up and then down, you will not see this day because there are so many days, but you will see in the graph that there is a big issue. You should ask, yeah, like maybe make all of the formulas super simple. If you are not comfortable having super crazy formulas inside, just ask it, okay, use helper columns, make formulas like short, like this, they are easier to edit for you. And again, yeah, ask AI to audit itself, and you will reduce the risk of mistake.
Awesome. Much needed with AI, which can be amazing if you use it well, but otherwise disastrous if you miss out on mistakes that it
Yeah.
makes.
And
Uh,
it's something that is nothing different than somebody in your team who just like had a fat finger and you don't see it. It's the same, like AI or your team, they can make mistake. So treat it the same way. Your team, you review, you have processes to review. Same with AI. The only difference here is that when you ask to to do this audit work, it doesn't complain and it will do it.
for sure. Awesome. I think I have another question around Claude that I want to take up first, which is, did you give Claude permission to modify all the changes to the spreadsheet, or did you manually allow once to all changes? When do you recommend always allowing changes versus allowing once? And how do you
Yeah,
change these
this
settings
is
in the
a
first
good
place?
question. So you can allow everything, like if it's empty and you start from scratch. Now, if you have already existing data, first always make a backup. Um, then always ask to add information outside of the original data. So either a new tab or maybe information to the right or at the bottom. So like this, it will not overwrite the existing information. And usually because of this, I say, okay, you can just do all of the changes because I don't want to have to accept all of them. But imagine you just want to do one change or a two or three. Just you can do that, like only allow one edit at a time. And also what I do usually for audit, I do not say, oh, check your model and change your mistakes. I tell it, audit yourself and show me, but do not change anything because I still want to understand if some of the mistakes are there by design. You might have a specific way of calculating your churn and you don't want Claude to change it, even if Claude thinks that it should be calculated another way. So that's where you should still be in control of what you accept as changes or not.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. I think one question for you, Nicholas, for the community you mentioned, if I join the club next week, how do I catch up on all that has been done in the club already? How do you
Yeah.
deal with FOMO, Nicholas?
So we have all of our so for the AI Fans Club, we have actually in 1 hour I do another session even more intense on Claude for Excel. So if you want to join, you can check. Maybe I will write in the channel. So this is the link to check to join. We have all of our master classes recorded, so you can always rewatch them. They are posted within 48 hours. So even if you miss one masterclass, you can join the IFRS club and then and watch the. We have now I think 60 masterclasses from the past 2 years.
Wow, you've been creating AI content for that long?
Yeah,
Amazing.
more than this 3 years, but yeah. So,
Awesome. I think the last question that I can take for today, which seems super relevant, can you share your skills with others in the company?
yeah, so first you can share either by downloading the skill and then giving as a file, or you can create skills that are part of the organization skills. So like this, all of the organization can have access to this. I think not everybody can share skills with the organization officially on Claude, but you can always like send a file with skills, and you can search for skills online. Like people have created awesome skill that you can download and use it as template.
Awesome. That's perfect. Cool. I think I see a few questions from Karen and others, and I think that's best answered one-on-one. So I'll take them up. But I want to launch the last poll to see. I saw some comments about and questions about Zenskar, so I want to launch the last for people who are interested in maybe looking at a more personalized demo, looking at which problems Zenskar can specifically solve, and where you're happy with using Claude to kind of automate the pieces that you can. So can we have the last poll, please? Awesome. I see one more question which I missed. Can you do deep analysis for IFRS 16? Nicholas, do you want to take that while people answer the poll?
Yeah, I mean, I asked for ASC. I could have asked for IFRS. Like, it's just if you're in Europe, you ask the same revenue recognition, but for IFRS 16. Yeah. Or, I mean, IFRS 16 is lease. So IFRS 15 is revenue recognition, and IFRS 16 is
Yes.
lease. So whatever is your process you want to do, name it, ask to make research on it. If you have your own internal rules, you can also upload it inside. And like this, ask to follow your rules and to create a process which is either documented in Excel or in a Google Doc or a Word document or in a PowerPoint. And like this, you can automate in the future this workflow.
Perfect. Awesome. I think we covered majority of the questions that we had today. So I think with that, I think we can end the poll and also the webinar. Thank you so much for so many of you who stayed till the end and went over time by good 8 minutes. I apologize, but I hope I was able to make it worth your time. Thank you so much, Nicholas, once again for answering all the questions and the wonderful masterclass. I think I learned a lot for sure, and seeing the sentiment in the chat, I can say our audience had a good time as well. Just to mention, we will make sure to um share the recording with all of you. So don't worry about that. It will hit your inbox in the next 24 hours. That's all from my side. Signing off. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day ahead. Take care, everyone.
Bye bye, everybody.